What's up, everybody? We have 10 minutes here with our dear friend, Mr. Mike McDowell, to talk about monoculars, the optic that doesn't really, I think, get enough love. We've talked about binoculars, we've talked about rifle scopes, rangefinder, spotting scopes get talked about. We've even talked about just all kinds of things glassing. And monoculars hasn't been brought up yet. Mike, you're sort of our resident observation optics expert when it comes to binos, spotters, and these things. You know a lot about them because you've used a ton of them. So, yeah, that's why you're here. So explain monoculars to us. They're pretty simple, are they not?
You're right. They only get about half as much love as a binocular. Sorry, that was really lame, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed
like
it.
And and I would argue they don't even get half.
Yeah.
Probably not. He's probably right. They don't. I mean, really, they're half of a binocular. They don't have a hinge, a bridge to go to another optic. But a binocular is essentially two of these things connected together and aligned so that you get stereoscopic vision. This we would call stereoscopic vision is a thing, is a term.
Would this be monoscopic?
Correct. This is monoscopic vision.
Good one, Mark. Way to go. But the idea here is I know I have I think I have two different solos. Our monoculars are the solos. There's also one on the table here, the Recon RT, which has a reticle inside, which is pretty neat, a milling reticle. I think I have two different solos. I always have one in the truck, and I always have one at home, I think.
I don't think I've ever ridden with you, Jim, when there's one not sitting in the door.
Yeah, because it's just you find yourself in these situations all the time where you're like, I want to look at that up close, and you don't have in normal everyday life, you're not always driving around with a binocular harness on your chest.
Right.
Mike, maybe you are. You glass stuff a lot. So, but
yeah, I go into stores occasionally, and I'm like 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm wearing my binoculars still. I mean, that happens a lot.
Okay, all right.
Or at restaurants, I sometimes keep my binoculars on.
Does that actually happen?
It does happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe the print on the menu is small.
Yeah. Well, one thing is if I am sort of, just driving around doing birding or whatever, photography, you shouldn't leave any of your optics in your car unattended. That can be potentially dangerous. I've heard of cases, this might be off the subject, but where people have actually been followed and then their vehicle's broken into.
Oh, because they have valuable things.
They saw them somewhere with their optic, yeah.
And then they
watch you and see that you leave your optic in the car, and then they break after you go inside. They break into your vehicle. I've heard of that happening.
Yeah,
horrible.
So anyway, I try not to leave any of my optics in my vehicle. So I usually take them inside wherever I'm going.
Good point.
But the nice thing, and I do have the Solo 8x36. I've got this one as my own monocular, and the thing I like about having a monocular is it's an option. It's an option for when you don't want something around your neck. Maybe you're packing a lot of gear already, and you just want something really quick, really easy, really functional, and you still have the ability to glass things and magnify something and see what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Their portability is where they really shine. The deficit that they do have is when I introduce the terms monoscopic and stereoscopic vision. You do see more detail when you've got both eyes looking through an optic. So people who are considering going with a monocular, like any optics, we know there's always a pro and a con. If you change magnification, there's a pro and a con. If you increase aperture size, there's a pro and a con. Well, the con with the monocular is that, you don't have stereoscopic vision. You don't get depth perception quite as well. It may not be as detailed as a binocular of the same optical punch. But the advantage is their size and weight. They're half the size and half the weight of a comparable binocular in that same aperture size and magnification.
Right.
So if you want something uber lightweight, uber portable, that's where the monocular's advantage is.
The other thing I like about a monocular is that it's an underrated thing about them, and something that I think a lot of people, and it's no fault of their own, they just don't know it about binoculars. Monoculars are just inherently basically foolproof. There's not much that can go
misalignment.
wrong. No misalignment,
prism
exactly.
alignment, yeah.
And that's what I was going to get into, is that a lot of people, they have binoculars, they've had them for some time, maybe they've got, dad's old set or whatever, and they've been beat up, carried around, banged against some stuff over their lifetime, or even just gone through many different heat cycles, going hot to cold, whatever it is. And they start getting out of alignment. And you hear people say things like, yeah, these just aren't as clear as they were when I first got them, or I get a headache when I look through them, whatever it might be. And it's because the two barrels, which, I mean, if you really think about it, they are two barrels bridged in the center, and they should be lined up, you know?
Yeah.
Like our brain and our eyes are lined up. So if you're looking through two magnified things that are all cockeyed, you probably are going to get a headache, and it probably isn't going to look as nice as it should. But with a monocular, you never have to worry about that. So when it comes down to an optic that you just sort of always have at the ready, it's just, you know, I mean, I've had my monoculars now for like, I don't know, 8 years, 7 years. I've never once thought about like, oh, you know, maybe send these in to get a tune
get this
up.
checked out.
Yeah, realigned or anything like that.
Well, and Jim, you always say the best optic is the one you have on you. And I feel
Yes.
like one of these solos can very well be that optic. Like you said, it's always in your car door. I can't count the times. Like, oftentimes I do have a set of binos, but oftentimes, like Mike said, I don't want to keep my gear in my truck, right? Like, it can be attractive. You know, you want to get to your truck and find all your windows intact and your binoculars or your optics still there. So, you know, something very discreet, portable, like Mike said, it's going to fit in there. And you got to look at kind of, at least in my opinion, what it's designed for. It's designed for quick looks, IDs, you know, observation. Are you going to be mounting it on a tripod and spending hours behind it? No, that's not what it's for.
Right.
It's another tool in your optics kit that can be super handy. And if you have it on you, you're going to be glad that you did.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the point, Mark. And as you and I, as the three of us know here, and as we know, talking to our customers, seldom is there a one optic person. You certainly can be, but I'm definitely not one of those. As you know, my collection's pretty substantial. But it's nice to have the option where if you need something that isn't as bulky, maybe you're just going to go for a bike trip or something, and you don't want something hanging around your neck. You can, you know, loop it on your waistline or something around a belt. You know, it's out of the way. They really do have a place in an optics user's arsenal where there is an advantage. Now, would I take a monocular along if I was strapped with all my other gear, a binocular, spotting? Probably not. There would be no need, really, unless I thought there was a chance that I could lose my equipment in the field, and I'm like, I still got my trusty monocular.
Yeah.
But that has never happened, right?
True.
But if you're packing a lot of gear, or if for whatever reason you don't want something big and clunky on your chest, believe it or not, a lot of kayakers really appreciate the monocular's durability, ruggedness, waterproofing. Very simple instrument, doesn't take up a lot of space when you're kayaking. I've noticed that they seem to be a popular customer for monoculars.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I happen to take one on my Coos stock because I didn't want to, you know, because I'm going full on trad bow and I'm trying to stay light and not get grabbed by every cactus ever.
Okay.
And so I clipped it on my belt real quick and I ran after that. Well, I didn't run after it. I just, you know, crawled after it through a bunch of cacti and whatnot. But, yeah, then I didn't have an annoying harness there. And then when it came time to shoot, I didn't have to, you know, worry about that or anything. It was just my chest was totally clear. And I was able to get in and out of some craggy stuff real easily. But then when I got closer to it, and this was when, because in Arizona, you know, you go over the radios. They were trying to tell me where the Coos deer was, and I just happened to be looking in the wrong spot. But it did help in terms of just figuring out what I was looking at. Because you look over there and you're like, it's just a bunch of ocotillo and just cactus and stuff. But you know, you could pick it out a little bit better with that. So
there's another customer that might really benefit from the monocular is people who have extraordinarily narrow or wide interpupillary distance, for example.
Sure.
There is a percentage of people, albeit very small, whose eyes are either too far apart or so close together that there is no binocular made that either goes wide enough for IPD or narrow enough for IPD, and the monocular may be just what that person needs for a decent optic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do have their place. The more you think about it, the more applications you can actually discover where a monocular is a nice idea for that application.
Well, and
or individual.
On the 36 millimeter objective models, the carry clip super handy. Super handy. Any flat edge surface, your pocket. You're talking about kayaking. I could picture. I know at least my PFD has like straps on it that I could just clip it right over the top.
Yep.
Always have it at the ready. One hand operation, like easy one hand operation, right? Sometimes it can be definitely not impossible to operate a binocular one handed, but there's a little bit more to it.
Tony,
I don't know, underrated.
Tony, who was on our very popular Life of a Sniper episode. Because the ones we have on here, we have a lot of the regular solos here. We have the Recon RT, which is a larger monocular style. It's almost like a mini fixed power spotting scope.
It can
in
even
some
be
ways.
tripod mounted. I see that.
But there is also a solo RT, which then has a reticle in it, just like this, milling reticle, MRAD. And he said that he had himself and a lot of his crew, when they're in sniper school, they're not allowed to use rangefinders. So they're trying to practice milling a lot.
Oh, sure.
So one, just for the practice aspect of it, they'd be like, hey, mill that stop sign over there. And they'd, quick do a little practice, look through it, and, bracket it in the reticle and then try and estimate how far away it was or the size of it. But then the other thing, too, is then when you're actually out shooting, you have an 8-power option with a reticle in it that you can spot with if you don't want to have the full-on spotting scope and tripod and, all that kit with you. It's just like a handheld.
Well,
thing
and with the reticle, you can call
spot.
shots, right? I mean, if you've got, the same scale as, whoever's shooting, right?
Right.
You could accurately call impacts.
Yeah. So there you have it. The old trusty monocular.
One of the things that maybe we should talk about is just how they're used. Did you want to go over that or not in
Why
this
not?
podcast? So, like one half of a binocular, you do have a twist up and down eye cup to accommodate whether you're an eyeglasses wearer or not. I would use it like this. You would use it like that just to get the proper eye relief. They do have a focusing ring or diopter, kind of like the left barrel of a binocular.
Yep.
All the focusing is just done right here, and it's just a very simple. It's really just like a point and shoot device. You
Point and focus, yeah.
Yep, point and focus, and it's really. And I was thinking about that too in terms of time. There's really a lot less. Like in a binocular, you might pick it up, you might have to adjust the hinge.
Yeah.
There's like a lot less. Maybe you have to
Adjust the diopter.
Yeah, there's a lot less going on in a monocular in terms of speed. If you've already got everything set for a distance, it's really fast to glass and get something in the field of view to inspect it. So, and really, there aren't that many problems with things that can go wrong with our monoculars. I mean, they are O-ring sealed, they're waterproof and nitrogen purged. Like you said, it's the alignment,
just
misalignment. There's less to go wrong.
There's less going
There's a
on.
simpler device.
Not that,
So their elegance lies in their simplicity
Yes.
and their size, but they still pack a punch.
Elegance. That's
Yeah.
a good, yeah. We'll end on that.
I like
All
it.
right.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks,
You're
Mike.
very welcome.
Thanks, everybody. Let us know if there's a monocular in your arsenal of optics. We'd love to hear about it. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
How was that?
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's excellent. We did it in 13 and a half minutes. That's pretty good. The old venerable solo.
Yep.
Actually, I have 3.
You really?
I have an 86, I have a 28, and I have an RT.
I'm the aperture pig. I gotta have the
36.
36.
Did I say, I meant to say 36,
Oh, okay.
but I said 86.
The 8x36 would be like, I think the one.
Yeah. I think that's what Ryan had on him when we were, I was like about to go put a stock on the Coos deer, and they were like, take some binos with you, and I was like, nah, because I was trying to go like just bow, but they were like, take this with you just in case, and I was like, I don't want it, and then Ryan was like, how about this solo, and I was like, yeah, I can fit that on my belt.
Yeah, perfect. I'll tell you what though, like, not to talk somebody out of that, but that Razor rangefinder, that's what when I'm doing bow hunting, super close stuff, because I always have that ready, so I just use the 7-power. I use my rangefinder as a monocular.
Yeah, but that's because range matters to you with your, fancy bow.